the science guy. Bill Nye, the science guy. Bill, 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 Bill. Bill Nye, the science guy.
Science rules.
Bill Nye, the science guy.
Inertia is a property of matter.
Bill Nye, the science guy. Bill, Bill, Bill.
T minus 7 seconds.
Bill Nye, the science.
Hey guys, Bill's out sick today, so we're going to be taking his place.
Today we're learning about this.
What is that?
This is a very, very important acid.
What type of acid?
It's called sulfuric acid.
Oh, I've heard about that before. It's used in so many products. For those of you who don't know, sulfuric acid is a highly corrosive, strong mineral acid with the molecular formula H2SO4. It is a colorless to slightly yellow liquid, which is clear, odorless, viscous, and soluble in water at all concentrations. To give you guys a bit of background information, sulfuric acid is man-made. There are two major ways in which it can be produced. The first method is the lead chamber process, the older of the two processes, and it is used to produce much of the acid used to make fertilizers. It produces a relatively dilute acid. The contact process is the other method, and it produces a purer, more concentrated acid. In both processes, sulfur dioxide is oxidized and dissolved in water to produce sulfuric acid.
Sulfuric acid is one of the most important industrial chemicals. More of it is made each year than is made of any other manufactured chemical. More than 180 million tons of it were produced throughout the world in 2004. It has widely varied uses and plays some part in the production of nearly all manufactured goods.
But what are some of the common uses of sulfuric acid? 60% of sulfuric acid is consumed for fertilizers, particularly superphosphates, ammonium phosphate, and ammonium sulfates.
About 20% is used in chemical industry for production of detergents, synthetic resins, dyestuffs, pharmaceuticals, petroleum catalysts, insecticides, and antifreeze, as well as in various processes such as oil refinery, aluminum reduction, paper sizing, and water treatment.
About 6% of uses are related to pigments and include paints, enamels, printing inks, coated fabrics, and paper.
The remaining amount of sulfuric acid is used in a variety of applications, such as production of explosives, cellophane, acetate, viscous textiles, lubricants, non-ferrous metals, and batteries.
The reason that sulfuric acid has such a large number of uses is due to its unique properties, such as strong dehydrating property, its corrosive property, if concentrated, its strong oxidizing property, its vigorous activity, and many more. Sulfuric acid is used as a drying agent because of its ability to easily absorb atmospheric water vapor. It also acts as the electrolyte in lead-acid car batteries because of its ability to ionize in water. Its strong oxidizing property is useful for cleaning agents, which is why sulfuric acid is commonly used in large quantities by the iron and steel making industry to remove oxidation, rust, and scaling. Sulfuric acid's vigorous activity is what makes it very useful in chemical production industries. Sulfuric acid can react with many different compounds in order to produce a new compound. For example, it is used for the production of phosphoric acid, which is then used to manufacture phosphate fertilizers. It is also used in the production of aluminum sulfate, which is commonly used in the paper-making industry. Last but not least, it is used for making aluminum hydroxide, which is used at water treatment plants to filter out impurities.
Oh, that's a lot of uses.
But how do these products affect our society?
Let's go investigate. Fertilizers, for example, are the most common use of sulfuric acid. They are beneficial because, when added to soil, it increases the growth rate of the seeds and therefore providing a greater amount of plants that provide society with essential necessities.
Another very common use of sulfuric acid is lead-acid batteries. These batteries are used to provide power to the starter motor to start the vehicle, as well as to run accessories such as the stereo system.
This here is a fridge made out of steel. Sulfuric acid is also important to the iron and steel making industry. It is used in large quantities to remove rust, oxidation, and other impurities from the product.
Acid is also used in the production of many plastics, dyes, perfume, pharmaceuticals, disinfectants, detergents, paints, and so much more. These are all products that are commonly used in our everyday lives and are very useful to society.
We've just learned about some of the positive impacts of sulfuric acid, but what are some of the negative ones?
Well, sulfuric acid can be very hazardous to one's health. Many of these products contain a very low concentration of sulfuric acid and therefore are not very harmful. But it is the products that contain high concentrations that are a danger to one's safety. Because of its corrosive properties, sulfuric acid can burn through skin into the flesh. It can cause clothes to disintegrate, and if swallowed, it can burn tissue all the way to the stomach.
What? In order to prevent sulfuric acid from causing any damage, avoid any contact with this acid. All products containing equal to or more than 1.5 moles per liter of sulfuric acid are labeled corrosive, so make sure to always read labels carefully. If by any reason your skin comes in contact with this acid, follow this standard first aid procedure. Wash with large quantities of water and continue doing so for at least 10 to 15 minutes to cool the tissue surrounding the acid burn and to prevent secondary damage. Contaminated clothing is removed immediately and the underlying skin washed thoroughly. Sulfuric acid is also very harmful to the environment. When emitted into the atmosphere, it can be found in the air as small droplets, resulting in the creation of acid rain. Acid rain greatly impacts the lakes, streams, wetlands, and other aquatic environments. The acid rain causes water to become acidic, which can be toxic to crayfish, clams, fish, and other aquatic animals. However, in an interconnected ecosystem, what impacts some species eventually impacts many more throughout the food chain, including non-aquatic species such as birds. It can also cause damage to forestry. The acid rain robs the soil of essential nutrients and releases aluminum into the soil, which makes it hard for the trees to take up water.
I guess sulfuric acid can be both a positive and a negative thing.
Let's go eavesdrop on a grade 11 science class and see what they learn about sulfuric acid.
Okay class, today we will be learning about sulfuric acid. If you'd like to flip to your textbooks to chapter 10.2, we're going to learn about some of these concepts and relate it back to sulfuric acid. So, do you guys know anything about the pH scale?
I think that a solution with a pH less than 7 is considered acidic, and a solution with a pH greater than 7 is considered basic.
That is very correct. So if sulfuric acid has a pH of 1, would it be acidic or basic?
Acidic.
That's very right as well. Good job, Stephanie. There's another part of the chapter talks about the difference between strong and weak acids. Sulfuric acid is considered a strong acid because it ionizes completely in a solution, and therefore all of the sulfate molecules react to form hydrogen ions and sulfate ions. Do you guys know any properties of strong acids?
Is it low pH levels?
Yes.
Good conductors of electricity?
Yes.
And vigorous activity?
Yes, that's very right. And this makes sulfuric acid possess some of these properties, considering it is a strong acid. Another part of this chapter talks about Arrhenius' theory of acids and bases. This explains why sulfuric acid is a good conductor of electricity. The textbook states that since acidic and basic solutions conduct electricity, that they must therefore contain ions. Since sulfuric acid completely ionizes in water, that means that there are lots of ions present, resulting in a good conductor of electricity. So, now that we can relate chapter 10 to sulfuric acid, I think it will help us understand it a little bit better. Good job today, class. We're getting close to the end of the show, so let's do a quick recap.
Today we've learned about what sulfuric acid is and some of its common uses.
We've also learned how it can positively affect us in society with its helpful products, but it can also negatively affect our health and the environment.
Well, I think that's all the time we have for today.
Thanks for watching. Tune back next week.
Bye, guys!